And while we're talking about makeup, I've got emails from you guys and comments in past videos about, you like my makeup, what do I use? I'm gonna show you two products that I really, really love. The first is called Instant Eye Lift by Trish McEvoy. And this is not so much a concealer as it is an under eye brightener. I use this on my lid a lot of times as an eyeshadow base. I use it underneath my eyes to just kind of wake me up, especially if I'm feeling that I'm looking a little dark underneath the eye. I am prone to allergies. And even, for example, if I drink a glass of wine, the next day I will notice that I'm a little bit more blue and kind of purple, hollowy looking underneath the eye. And this really does take care of it. So this is a really good product. It comes in a few different shades depending on your skin tone. And I'll link this stuff down below. I've also got a Shop My page where I list all of my favorite makeup products because as a 51-year-old woman, I really ask a lot of my products. I don't want them thick. I don't want them, leaving my skin looking aged and textured and all that kind of stuff. I want them to be lightweight in feel, but I want them to actually cover and do something and make me look awake and fresh. And I've talked about this product before. This one is from Maxine's Revenge. It's called French Face Concealer. I did a tutorial back in July where I talk about how I travel with this product and how I apply it. This product is made to be used as a foundation and a concealer and a bronzer and a highlighter, depending on what shade you use. And in that specific video, I was talking about how, I traveled with this all summer. And since we've been in Germany, since a lot of our stuff hasn't arrived yet, it's still en route via our sea shipment. I didn't bring a lot of my makeup. I have some of the same stuff that I've been using since we relocated in July. And Maxine's Revenge is one of the two foundations that I did take with me. And this stuff is awesome. It's a very stretchy serum-like concealer. I wish I was affiliated with this brand, but I do have them in my Amazon shop. So I'll link it below. But it's a beautiful product, especially for mature women, because I love products that have a lot of pigment, but not a lot of weight. And there are skincare ingredients in this formula that when you're blending it out, it does feel like skincare. So after a really nice juicy skincare prep, I'll use the Maxine Revenge. And I have several different shades. Some I'll use that will act as a highlight on the top of my cheekbones and in the middle of my forehead. And then I have a darker shade that I'll use to warm up my eyes, even as eyeshadow or as bronzer and contour on the face. And then I have my main face shade, but it all blends and marries together beautifully. And I never feel heavy. I never feel thick or textured. And if I'm on camera, I'll do a very, very light dusting of powder on top. My favorite is currently my favorite is the Trish McEvoy, just white translucent pressed powder. That one is one of my all-time favorites. And the one that I really, really got into this past year is the Morphe brightening powder. I'll show you a picture somewhere here, but those two are really nice. And I always take a beauty blender that's damp, not dripping, but you wrung out damp, and I will apply powder using the damp beauty blender. And what that does is it locks in the makeup, gives you the longevity that you want, but you don't look matte and faded. You'll still have nice luminosity from your makeup products or say from whatever light application of a luminizer that you want. So yeah, that's all that. I will link that down below, but Revenge. Now these are fantastic concealers and they double as foundation. Now Maxine's Revenge was developed by an industry beauty professional. I have her name here. It is Leah Hunsness, and I'm so sorry if I butchered her name. She was working in Paris headquarters for Sephora. She's worked for Gucci Beauty, it says here, and she's an industry professional. She's a mature woman. I believe she is in her mid-50s. She's beautiful, and she knows the needs of mature skin. She knows that mature skin has larger pores. We have fine lines and wrinkles. We have pigmentation. We have unevenness. We have thin skin in a lot of areas. Makeup and concealers don't wear on 40 plus skin and above the way that they wear on teenagers and girls in their 20s and 30s. And Leah understands this. She knows this. So she developed this line and it just sold out and went crazy. And I was intrigued because she was marketing it as a stretchy kind of hybrid concealer that can double as a foundation and a bronzer and a highlighter and everything in these little vials of goodness. And this is not sponsored, you guys. It's not a sponsored video. I don't usually buy into a lot of the hype and stuff that these brands put on their website, but I've worn this product for 3 months and I have to say it checks out. So she describes this as a hydrating, stretchy concealer meets foundation, and it moves with your facial expressions, moves with your skin throughout the day, and it blurs texture, smooths crepiness under the eyes, melts into the skin without settling, takes care of things like pores, discoloration, dryness, all that stuff. She talks about there's no BS ingredients, no nanoplastics, no fragrance, no alcohol, no essential oils. I love that, especially as an esthetician. I know that the #1 sensitizer for skin across the board is fragrance. Fragrance is the worst. So if you can avoid fragrance in your makeup and skincare, I would say do it. But what I like to do with the French Face Concealer is I like to just paint it on and then just marry it all over. And it's a lot easier than it sounds. So this is the lightest shade that I got, which is called Fair Peach. And what I do is I put a little bit just on the top of my cheekbones here. I put a little bit here on the inner corner of my eye, a little bit up on the high planes of my face, and that's all I really do for the light color. Then I take my color that is more my skin tone, my all over coverage, and I just dot it all over. Again, you don't need a whole heck of a lot with this product because it has a lot of pigment, and she calls it a stretchy concealer, meaning a little bit goes a long way. And what I do is I move the product around like this a little bit just to kind of get it moved on my skin, and then I would just go in with my blender and I would blend it all out. And this brush is really nice because it gets on the eyelids, it gets under the eye, it gets around the nose, and it's a synthetic bristle, so it's really easy to clean. So let me just blend this out now with my blending sponge. So I just like the fat side, you just kind of bounce on your face, but I just do a really light layer all over. And if you've watched my tutorials, you guys know that I am not into 100% full opaque coverage. I have sunspots, I have large pores, I have spots here, sunspot here. I am not into 100% opaque coverage. I feel like that is extremely aging when you have just such thick opaque makeup on. It doesn't look good in my opinion. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and I take my Skin Color True Tone. This is the light beige. And anywhere where I thought maybe just a tiny little bit of coverage, again, not a lot, just go in. I even do a little bit under the eye there, then just blend it out with my brush and with my blending sponge. When I'm by myself and I'm not talking to you guys, this takes literally 5 minutes. I don't like to put foundation directly on my nose. I take the leftover makeup that is embedded in my sponge or on my brush, and I'll go like that, because I feel like you can tell when you have a lot of makeup on your nose. There's nothing more fake looking than having a really thick layer of makeup, especially on the tip of your nose. If you can kind of leave a little bit of light there, it looks so much more natural. So that is basically it for my skin coverage. And again, if you've got pigmentation, if you've got a few spots where you're like, Jennifer, I really want to go back and take care of them because I don't like that age spot or that sunspot or whatever, just do what I do. I just go like this, and whatever's on that applicator there, I just, obviously clean finger, but I just go in and I just dot where I have a little bit of a sunspot or a little bit of an area where I want to give a little bit more coverage to. I am not into heavy full coverage. I'm not into dense coverage, and we can get enlarged pores, especially as we get older, on our T-zone. I'm a normal to combo now. When I was young, I was really, really oily. So that's why you get those enlarged pores. So if you put too much makeup in there, it really does accentuate it. And I don't put a lot of makeup right on my chin. I kind of drag it from the other parts of my face, because I find that a lot of us get this orange peel like skin here with these enlarged pores, and too much makeup in there just doesn't really look good. And then I will take it down a little bit onto my neck. And don't forget that you have to use your skincare and SPF on your neck as well. But just take it down a little bit. Now, those are the two colors, the brightener and the facial concealer. So those are the two that I used. This is an optional thing now. Totally optional. If you want to get fun and use a darker bronzy color as your bronzer, as Leah likes to say, this is how you would use it. Now, I have used too much of this in the past and really regretted it because, again, very, very pigmented. A little bit of this product goes a really long way. So what I like to do is I will take a clean makeup palette. I get these off of Amazon. And what I do is I just do a dot like this of the bronzer bronzing color. And the color that I got was called Deep Chestnut. Now, she has since added, I think, almost 10 new shades to her website. So she's really gotten great with her color shades. And she's got a matching tool on there. You see what I'm doing, you guys? I'm just doing a little light application with my finger where the sun would naturally hit me to give me a little bit of that definition and that shading. I go down a little bit on my jawline. So let's just do that for now and see what happens. So here is my blending sponge. And this will warm up and give life to the face. Now, you do not contour with bronzer. People that have been doing makeup for decades, they'll tell you that a true contour has gray in it because it's supposed to mimic shadow. But we're not doing stage makeup here. Most of us are not Kardashians. We're not slicing and dicing our nose and doing all these sharp edges with makeup on the daily. What we want to do is just bring a little bit of life and warmth to the face. I'm going to take a little bit more because you see how subtle that is? If you want a little bit more, take a little bit more because that is what bronzer does. It gives a little light and warmth to the face, makes you look alive. You don't even have to be a blush person to like and use bronzer. And I'll take a little tiny bit and I'll just go like this on the side of my nose here, and I will blend all that out. But you see how this just is giving you a relaxed sun-kissed look, and it's very, very subtle. Now, if you like a more bronzed up look, go ahead and use a little bit more. I've even seen in her tutorials where Leah on her Instagram uses her bronzer color on her eyelids as well, just to give her a little bit of definition and contour. And maybe we should do that. That sounds fun. What I think I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to take a little bit of the Fair Peach, the lightest color, and I am going to just do a tiny dot here just on the eyelids and use that as my eyeshadow base, or I should say lid color, where you just kind of clean up and give a little bit of light and brightness on the eyelid. So many of us have veins and discolored eyelids, and we just want to make everything look a little bit more uniform and bright and even. Some women have naturally discolored purplish eyelids, and it kind of looks like eyeshadow. See how that just woke everything up? It looks so pretty. And I didn't use a lot, nothing crazy here. And think of it as like a cream eyeshadow. So that was the first color, the Fair Peach. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that same Deep Chestnut shade, and actually, I don't even think I'm gonna use more of the concealer. I'm just gonna take what's left on my palette and my eyeshadow brush, and watch this. Just on that lower kind of half of the brow bone there, just a tiny little bit, to give my eye some definition. You don't have to use eyeshadow if you don't want to. And I'll tell you, I use eyeshadow less and less and less. I'm more into really groomed and tailored brows that frame my eyes and make me look awake and open. I'm more into brows and lashes, really, than I am eyeshadow. I just like a little bit of a darker color on my brow bone there to kind of push in and recess the puffiness that I have. And a lot of us are a little puffy. I'm gonna do just a little bit more here. And if you can just give yourself a little bit of depth, that will make you look more awake as well. I don't drag the contour color down past around this point because that just drags the eye down after a certain age. I kind of stop there. Do a little bit more here. And did I blend in that little bit of bronze on my nose? I don't know if I did. I'd rather see you going in like this to blend your contour color, whether it's an eyeshadow or a cream, rather than going down like that. Don't do that. And I did not do any deeper color on my lid. I didn't feel the need for it because I feel like when I've got my mascara on and my lashes look really lush and full, I don't really need a darker color on my lid. But let me take my sponge and make sure that I blended that bronzer that I put there on my nose. So pretty. And then the next product I'm going to do is my favorite powder that I just purchased a couple of months ago from Morphe. This is their brightening powder. This is their Jumbo Bake and Set. Very, very finely milled, talc free. And this one's called Brightening Pink. I like to just do a little bit of the powder on my palette, just like this. If you hate the look of powder and you feel like it makes your face look too matte and opaque after you've applied your makeup, just use that damp sponge with a little bit of your powder, like how I had on my palette there, and bounce that on your skin. And that will give you the makeup setting properties that you want from a powder, but it's not going to look like it is heavy and matte. You're still gonna feel like your skin has some light and life. And then I usually take the more pointy side of the powder and I just go underneath the eye to take out the creases from the color under there. But that was it for face products. That's just talking about makeup for mature ladies. And if you guys want more makeup tutorials from me in the future, let me know. I started out as a beauty channel here on YouTube, being a makeup artist and an esthetician. I just love talking about it, especially skincare. You can catch up on those playlists. But if you want more of that type of stuff, let me know. One of my popular videos from this past spring in April was me just putting on my makeup, chatting about the latest tomfoolery that Harry and Meghan were getting up to. You know, because yeah, those two are fools and we need to continue to pray for them because they are on a path to destruction. But yeah, so anywho, so makeup and chatting and all that, let me know if you want to see all that.